Before I start putting on the finish, I want to make the bridge because I will mask off the footprint of the bridge on the soundboard. That way I don't have to scrape as much lacquer off. I like to use koa whenever I can, especially on soprano bridges, because they're such a small instrument and there's so little tension driving the strings that I think the lightest weight bridge possible is the best way to go. So I use a pretty simple non-pin bridge, just has holes in what I guess I would call the tie block that you slip the string into after tying a knot in the end of it. It's quite simple. So I've got this piece of koa that I'm going to cut into a section that's about 2.5 inches long and 5/8 of an inch wide and about 5/16 thick. And that'll be the starting point for the bridge. This is the blank, not much to it. Now I'll cut the saddle slot on the table saw. There's that. I'm marking where the string slots are going to be cut. On most of the soprano ukes, I use a string spacing of 14 millimeters, and that seems to be pretty comfortable. So I also have to mark these slots going down the back side of the bridge, and I'll show you why in a second. I want to form a bit of a pocket at the bottom of the bridge for the knotted up string to rest in. And before I cut the slots, what I'm going to do is drill a hole using about I don't know, I think a 3/8 inch drill bit, and it'll go halfway in this piece of wood and then halfway in a scrap piece. It'll be more obvious when you see it in action, but that's why I had to mark the string locations down the back end of the bridge blank so I could know where to drill the holes. Alright, that's lined up. I'm cutting the string slots with a bandsaw and a miter fence. I know it might look kind of crude or rough, but this blade cuts a kerf of about 37 thousandths of an inch, which is wide enough for 3 of the 4 strings. I'll have to widen the slot for the 3rd string just a little bit because it is also, I use usually Aquila strings, and they're 36 thousandths of an inch, this 3rd string. And that's that. Last thing to do is just shape this a little bit. I don't want it to look like just a rectangle with a couple slots in it, so I'll round off all the edges and then it'll be ready for use. Okay, there it is, ready for use. It'll sit like that, and like I said, the little pockets that I cut are for the ball ends, the knotted ends of the strings to go inside, and then strings come up through their respective slots, and that's the whole bridge. Pretty simple, but extremely lightweight, and shouldn't impede the sound any more than absolutely necessary. Now I can proceed with finishing. So I'm going to give it a final sand and then start sealing the rosewood and the mahogany.